Peace, peace, peace. Shalom, shalom. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. And welcome to another day to labor in the vineyard of the Most High with your brother. Another day to get in the Word, to see what the Most High got to serve. And today, we gonna eat on a little understanding of the mind and meditation and how they go hand in hand. Alright? And that they tools to be used for our ascension and our spiritual elevation. Alright? Let's eat. We're gonna start with the teaching of Buddha. The teachings of Buddha. This section right here called The Last Teaching of the Buddha. Page 11, starting at verse 2. My disciples, the teachings that I have given you are never to be forgotten or abandoned. They are always to be treasured. They are to be thought about. They are to be practiced. If you follow these teachings, you will always be happy. The point of the teachings is to control your own mind. The point of the teachings is to control your own mind. Keep your mind free from greed, and you will keep your body right, your mind pure, and your words faithful. Always thinking of the transcendency of your life. You will be able to resist greed and anger and will be able to avoid all evils. If you find your mind tempted and so entangled in greed, you must suppress and control the temptation. Be the master of your own mind. A man's mind may make him a Buddha, or it may make him a beast. Again, a man's mind, and what the Bible always tells us, the renewing of your mind. All of the Lords of Light, all of the master teachers that came had similar messages. And this is what we about to see. A man's mind may make him a Buddha, or it may make him a beast. Misled by error, one becomes a demon. Misled by error, or what the Bible will call darkness, one becomes a demon. Enlightened, one becomes a Buddha. Therefore, control your mind and do not let it deviate from the right path. Study together, learn together, practice the teachings together. Do not waste your mind and time in idleness and quarreling. Enjoy the blossoms of enlightenment in their season and harvest the fruit of the right path. The demon of worldly desires is always seeking chances to deceive the mind. Again, the demon of worldly desires, or what the Bible would call the carnal man, the carnal mind. The demon of worldly desires is always seeking chances to deceive the mind. If a viper lives in your room and you wish to have a peaceful sleep, you must first chase it out. You must break the bonds of worldly passion and drive them away as you would a viper. you must positively protect your own mind. Alright, now let's go to a section called The Theory of Mind Only, page 49. The Theory of Mind Only. Buddha spent a lot of time teaching about the mind. Verse 1. Both delusion and enlightenment originate within the mind. And every existence or phenomenon arises from the functions of the mind, just as different things appear from the sleeve of a magician. The activities of the mind have no limit. They form the surroundings of life. An impure mind surrounds itself with impure things, and a pure mind surrounds itself with pure things. In the Bible, I believe it's 1 Titus 1:15 or somewhere around there, it says, unto the pure are all things pure, but unto them that be defiled, all things are defiled, or something similar to that extent. But this is the same thing that he's saying right here. An impure mind surrounds itself with impure things. And that comes from the impure thoughts that the impure mind has. And a pure mind surrounds itself with pure things. Hence, surroundings have no more limits than the activities of the mind. Just as a picture is drawn by an artist, surroundings are created by the activities of the mind. While the surroundings created by Buddha are pure and free from defilement, those created by men are not so. So the human mind fills in the surroundings of its life, meaning you attract what your mind is catered to. If your mind is catered to wickedness, wickedness is going to come into your life, because the thoughts of your mind is attracting demons, but you don't know it. And that's part of the thing that we don't understand about spiritual warfare. Your thoughts. You got wicked thoughts. Who giving you the wicked thoughts? It's them entities that's whispering into your ear, into your mind, really. We didn't cover that in other lessons. How the demons whisper suggestions to us. When you hear a thought in your head to do something that's crazy, yeah, that's one of them demons talking to you right there. And when you act upon it, it's a win for them. They get you to go against yourself, your spirit. So the human mind fills in the surroundings of its life. There is nothing in the world that is not mind created. Buddha has a right understanding of all things as fashioned by the human mind. Therefore, those who know this are able to see the real Buddha. Verse 2. But the mind that creates its surroundings is never free from memories, fears, or laments, not only in the past, but the present and future, because they have arisen out of ignorance and greed. It is out of ignorance and greed that the world of delusion starts. And all the vast complex of coordinating causes and conditions exists within the mind and nowhere else. Both life and death arise from the mind and exist within the mind. Hence, when the mind that concerns itself with life and death passes, the world of life and death passes with it. An unenlightened and bewildered life rises out of a mind that is bewildered by its world of delusion. Again, an unenlightened and bewildered life rises out of a mind that is bewildered by its world of delusion. As we learn that there is no world of delusion outside of the mind, the bewildered mind becomes clear. And because we cease to create impure surroundings, we attain enlightenment. Because we cease to create impure surroundings, we attain enlightenment. In this way, the world of life and death is created by the mind, is in bondage to the mind, is ruled by the mind. The mind is the master of every situation. The world of suffering is brought about by the deluded mind. If you have perverse, crooked, and wicked thoughts, your life is going to reflect that. Because you done brung it on by your thoughts. Your thoughts are your building blocks. If you have pure and righteous thoughts within your mind, the world that you're going to build is going to be filled with righteousness and purity. You're not going to allow wicked people to sit around amongst you. Alright? You're not going to have things that attract wickedness to you. Therefore, all things are primarily controlled and ruled by the mind and are made up by the mind. As the wheels follow the ox that pulls the cart, so suffering follows the person who speaks and acts with impure mind. Like the Bible teaches, life and death is in the power of the tongue. Alright, so what precedes what comes out your mouth is your thoughts. So what's in your mind or what's in your heart is what comes out your mouth. So if you have wicked thoughts and they sit up in your heart, it's going to come out your mind. You ain't going to be able to hide it but for so long. As the wheels follow the ox that pulls the cart, so suffering follows the person who speaks and acts with impure mind. All we gotta do is look around at people around us. Alright? And we can see from their mind how their lifestyle, it caters to their mindset. Their surroundings, it caters to their mindset. The scriptures say, know the spirit by the spirit. Reading spirits is part of the things that we have to do to get an understanding out here. Alright? You see a person's lifestyle and their actions, the things that come out their mouth, the things that they into, it helps you read the spirit. But it also shows you what their mind is at. Alright? But if a man speaks and acts with a good mind, happiness follows him like his shadow. You don't see too many people that's just happy every day, all day, and they got wicked thoughts. It just don't go hand in hand. You can't attract demons to you with your thoughts and the things that come out your mouth and be happy all the time. It don't go hand in hand. But if a man speaks and acts with a good mind, happiness follows him like his shadow. Those who act in evil are followed by the thought, I have done wrong. And the memory of the act is stored to work out its inevitable retribution in the following lives. But those who act from good motives are made happy by the thought, I have done good, and are made happier by the thought that the good act will bring continuing happiness in the lives to follow. If the mind is impure, it will cause the feet to stumble along a rough and difficult road. There will be many falls and much pain. But if the mind is pure, the path will be smooth and the journey peaceful. One who is to enjoy the purity of both body and mind walks the path to Buddhahood, or the path to Christhood, breaking the net of selfish, impure thoughts and evil desires. He who is calm in mind acquires peacefulness, and thus is able to cultivate his mind day and night with more diligence. Next, we're going to go to the Bhagavad Gita. So we started with the teachings of Buddha. Now we're going to go to some of the teachings of Krishna. Some of the teachings of Krishna. This chapter 6 called Yoga. Starting at verse 5. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. Like that old Gucci song say, I'm my best friend and I'm my worst enemy. That's a true statement. I am. Your mind is your best friend, or it can be your worst enemy. Your mind can attract angels, or your mind will pull in demons. Verse 6. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. Verse 7. For one who has conquered the mind, the spirit man or super soul is already reached. For he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. Verse 12. Practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities, and fixing the mind on one point. Alright, so that's the reason for yoga and meditation. To purify the heart by controlling our mind. And when we, as we're gonna see as we go on through the lesson, in meditation, it's helping you to control your thoughts so that your mind won't be running rampant all over the place. And that also give you more control, and it strengthens your will. Because then the demons have a less effect on you, because you more so in the driver's seat of your mind. Your mind not just running according to the lust of your flesh or the desires of your heart. No, you in control. You in the driver's seat. Practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling the mind, senses, and activities, fixing the mind on one point. Verse 15. Thus, practicing constant control of the body, mind, and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, his mind regulated, attains to the kingdom of God by cessation of material existence. Meaning to overcome the carnal man. Verse 19. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendence, speaking on the saint or the righteous person, whose mind is controlled, remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self, speaking on the spirit man. 25. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction. And thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Alright, if you never did meditation before, whenever you get in your pose and you get yourself situated and start meditating, and you close your eyes and try to just zone out, your mind gonna start going different places. Different random thoughts is gonna come into mind. Your job is to clear those thoughts. And one thing I do, even though I don't meditate too much like I probably should, I think whenever crazy thoughts or anything come into mind, like for example, one thing I do, I just think of a waterfall. And mentally a splash will come through and wash away that thought. So I just sit there, splash waterfalls, splash waterfalls, splash waterfalls in my mind. And as you know, in your mind, the water trickles down, it washes away those thoughts. And it gets me back to that blank space of darkness where I can just focus on breathing. And it's different breathing techniques, it's different methods. If you look up, if you start learning or searching about meditation, it's different breathing techniques also that's involved. So all of that is what it's saying. As you learn to get your mind back under control, it's increasing your strength in the spirit. Alright, because that's a spiritual act right there, clearing your mind. It's helping you gain dominion over your mind. 28. Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness and transcendental loving service to the Lord. A true yogi observes me in all beings, speaking on Krishna or the Most High. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the Supreme Lord, everywhere. Verse 35. It is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. 36. For one whose mind is unbridled, meaning uncontrolled, just roaming free. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. And that's why I be talking about guarding the portals. The things that you see, the things you listen to. Alright? Those things right there afflict your mind in ways that we don't realize. So that's part of taming your mind, by controlling what you allow to go into it, as far as the things you listening to and what you watching on the TV. All this play a part in helping you tame your mind. Alright, because these are thoughts that you're going to have to end up wrestling with. And some of them thoughts end up bringing demons into our lives. And they attract other people on that same frequency, they got demons with them. And other people demons will afflict you. Alright? Because like it said in the Bible, the thief is out to steal, kill, and destroy. And that's spiritually, which leads to physically also. So, the more we purify ourselves, and the more we get away from filthiness in our thoughts, and filthiness as far as our relationships that we have. Not speaking on our spouse necessarily, but even friends or whatnot. You know some of your friends, they got certain demons that they can't override, and they will bring them around you. Alright? If any of y'all got friends that's an alcoholic, you already know how it is with them. So as you get in your spiritual zone, it's gonna be hard for you to be around them, because you're gonna be able to realize that the way they act, certain actions or whatnot that come along with that. Alright? And other demons that people have. People that lust for various things of the world. Alright? It becomes a hindrance to somebody that's on a spiritual journey or whatnot. Let's keep eating. Next, the mystical journey from Jesus to Christ. Page 172, a section called Meditation on the Teachings. This stage is dedicated to self-discovery through the direct inner experience of one's own true nature, leading to complete enlightenment by the transformation of one's consciousness. Meditation means transcendence of ordinary mortal consciousness and the achievement of the mental state of cosmic consciousness, knowledge of true divine self. Because when you're in meditation, you're in the spiritual realm. Alright? And as you get good at it, you'll start to be able to maneuver, and you'll start seeing different things. You'll zone out, and it'll be like you in a dream state. Basically, you'll forget that you even meditating. You'll get to that point to where you'll start to having spiritual experiences. Things will start to come to you. You start to see things, and it's a mystical experience. It's like being in the dream world, but you awake. You just in deep meditation, and you zone out and don't even know that you in your body no more, because your spirit started to maneuver. And it take time to build up, but from my learning, what I learned was try to start off with like 2 or 3 minutes and build your way up to where you can get to 5 minutes, then maybe you can get to 10 minutes. Me personally, I ain't never been to go much longer than 10 minutes. But I mean, I have got to a point before where it's like I done zoned out, so I realized that it worked. But me, it's just not a part of my routine. Why I do it, I got it down to like something I do consistently. It be randomly when I do it every once in a while. But I can see how people that do it often can seriously benefit from it. Especially people that have a hard time controlling their thoughts, and their thoughts just cause them problems. I see how it can be very beneficial to them. But my personal form of meditation is sitting in scriptures all the time. But I do want to get better with the yoga form of meditation, because I didn't witness the benefits of it. I just got to mentally pull myself into doing it. Meditation means transcendence of ordinary mortal consciousness and the achievement of the mental state of cosmic consciousness. By cleansing the subconscious mind when it is stilled, meditation means the practice of stopping the thoughts and allowing the mind to become free of vibration. When this occurs, the soul is able to see through it as through a clear piece of glass. Otherwise, the movements of the mind are like a reflection in the water, which is constantly moving due to waves. When the clarity which comes from the practice of stopping the vibrations or agitation of the mind is achieved, the soul is able to see through the mind in an unobstructed way. It is at this point that it is said that the mind is non-existent in such a person, meaning that it is transcendent. The world has come to an end for that person. The world here refers to the world of illusions and misconceptions about the self and the nature of creation. All right? Because you come outside of the matrix and you go into the spiritual realm. All right? Due to the identification of the seer with the thoughts, we believe ourselves to be mortal and limited instead of immortal and immutable. Yoga is the process of uncovering the eyes from the illusion of the mind's thought ways. Alright, next, on page 259, chapter 12, called Introduction to Christian Yoga Meditation. The next step in the journey from Jesus to Christ. Indeed, we are not just to practice being good for the sake of waiting for some savior at the end of time, but we are to realize our divinity, our oneness and unity in and as a Christ even before death. And in doing so, discover the kingdom of heaven here and now. Yahweh, Jesus told us the kingdom of heaven is within. When you're in meditation, you are going within to that inner universe where you can escape the flesh and go into the spirit realm when you get into that deep state of meditation. Meditation may be thought of or defined as the practice of mental exercises and disciplines to enable the meditator to achieve control over the mind, specifically to stop the vibrations of the mind due to unwanted thoughts, imaginations, etc. The theory of meditation is that when the mind and senses are controlled and transcended, the awareness of the transcendental state of consciousness becomes evident. From here, consciousness awareness expands, allowing the meditator to discover the latent abilities of the unconscious mind. When this occurs, an immense feeling of joy emerges from within. The desire for happiness and fulfillment through external objects and situations dwindles, and a peaceful, transcendental state of mind develops. Also, the inner resources are discovered which will allow the practitioner to meet the challenges of life while maintaining a poised state of mind. Meditation and yoga philosophy are disciplines which are directed toward increasing awareness. Awareness or consciousness can only be increased when the mind is in a state of peace and harmony. Remember, everything with Christ was peace. I give you my peace. I leave you with my peace. I come in the name of peace. Everything was about peace. Awareness or consciousness can only be increased when the mind is in a state of peace and harmony. Thus, the disciplines of meditation are the primary means of controlling the mind and allowing the individual to mature psychologically and spiritually. This simple practice, if followed each day, will promote above average physical health and spiritual evolution. One's mental and emotional health will be maintained in a healthy state as well. The most important thing to remember during this meditation time is to just relax and not try to stop the mind from pursuing a particular idea, but also not trying to actively make the mind pursue a particular idea or thought. Your goal is to reach a state of peace. That's what learning the breathing techniques is for. You take deep breaths in through the nose and exhale slowly through the mouth. All right, and it's different ways of doing it. As you look it up, you'll see. The goal is to relax to such a degree that the mind drifts deeper and deeper. That the mind drifts to deeper and deeper levels of consciousness, finally reaching the source of consciousness, the source of all thought. Then the mind transcends even this level of consciousness and there communes with the absolute reality, which is God. This is the state of cosmic consciousness, the state of enlightenment. After a while, the mental process will remain at the soul level all the time. This is the enlightened sage level. Alright. Next, we're gonna go to the Cobran. We're gonna finish up in the Cobran here. The Cobran Bible. The Book of Wisdom, Meditation and Morals. Chapter 1. The only way a man can become fully awakened spiritually is to know his true nature and to strive for communication with the spiritual realm. This can best be achieved by meditation, or perhaps mindfulness expresses it better. This is a state of conscious awareness of all the potentialities within man, the ability to cut off all material disturbances and to bring the spirit into harmonious relationship with a higher, more compatible realm. It means gaining complete mastery over all material impulses, urges, and desires. When a conscious, awakened spirit occupies a material body in conscious unity, the whole being is united with the divine. Mindfulness controls the thoughts and feelings and clears an inner place, so that in silence and peace, it is ready to receive an influx of the divine mindfulness. And meditation opens a way of communication. Meditation opens a way of communication, whereby the spirit of man may communicate with the spirit surrounding the divine. It is a higher form of prayer, a controlled concentration of thought. All wisdom and all knowledge, the answer to every question, are not to be found outside of man, but within him. He need not seek outside himself for the solution to the riddle of his nature. He need not traverse the earth to find the answer. It can be reached from within himself. There too, he will find all the supplies, the needs of his spirit. He will find all that supplies the needs of his spirit. The kingdom is within. And now we see the benefits of meditation and how we can access that kingdom within. All right? Peace.